Welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday nights. We're here to do bad decisions, to make bad decisions. I make them all the time. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's human, right? It's human. Let's get the commercials out of the way real quick. Nature Box. Everybody eats snacks. Most of the stuff you eat out there is some old garbage. Step up your snack game, son. Hit up Nature Box. Nature Box is a bunch of snacks that are so much better for you than that Twinkie you're eating right now, or the bag of Doritos or rancheritos. If you're familiar with the Mexican snack, it's actually pretty delicious, but it's horrible for you. Anyway, if you want some guilt-free-ish snacks, or actually some really good snacks, they have a lot of stuff that's actually good for you. So, just depends on what you pick. The sriracha cashews are bomb. They're awesome. And the peanut butter thing, the num nums, something like that. They just, I don't know what they're called, but I eat them like crazy when I have them. So I always run out. Anyway, get yourself some Nature Box. Go to CrossBonesMMA.com and click on the Nature Box banner to get yourself some good snacks, son. We're also brought to you by F3 Foods. Are you trying to lose weight? Trying to get in shape? Go to the beach. Have those the 6-pack abs. We get your ass to your gym. Start working out. All right, but you also got to eat right and eat really, really well. So get yourself a nutritional plan. F3 Foods helps you out with that. It's already made, ready to go food. Just got to eat it, basically. Maybe heat it up. I'm not sure. Like, however you like it. Some people like to eat. Some people are really, really gross, and they actually like to eat TV dinners and like it's just disgusting things. But like disgusting, like I don't know. If you eat a TV dinner cold, something's wrong with you. That's all I'm saying. You're probably from like the weirdest place in the planet, in the country, whatever you want to call it. Anyway. That's F3 Foods. Make sure you go to thegetfitprogram.com and use the word Crossbones, CROSSBONES, at checkout for a discount. And of course, Traxfen is always here. It helps you get your testosterone up. You want to build lean muscle. First of all, you need to eat right and work out really hard, but really smart as well. But if you want testosterone levels to get a boost without having to use TRT and all that stuff and spend a ton of money, Traxfen can do that for you. Go to CrossbonesMMA.com and click on the banner in the store and affiliates page. Also, the Amazon.com box. Go to CrossBonesMMA.com. You'll see the Amazon box. It's the same as if you were, shopping directly at Amazon.com, but the difference is they help us out, right? So you don't spend an extra cent to help us out. As long as you shop through that box, helps us out immensely, and it helps keep the site running, helps keep the podcast going. SoundCloud costs money. Is how it goes. Equipment costs money, and all this stuff. You see this microphone here costs money. So it helps us out get better equipment, get better services, and evolve CrossBones MMA. So help us out. Go to CrossBonesMMA.com and shop through that little box. It helps out a lot. And so for all these sponsors and more, go to CrossBonesMMA.com and click on the store and affiliates page for details. Oh, and now, finally, let's get to the show. Welcome to Bad Decisions with Eddie Law. Now on Monday nights, this is a late night MMA talk show hosted by yours truly, Eddie Law. Hi. And we get to all the important issues in MMA today. Of course, this is an interactive show, I like to call it. So make sure to hit me up on Twitter at CrossBonesMMA.com, or sorry, at CrossBonesMMA on Twitter. What the hell's wrong with me today? Or myself directly at ELAW31. Or if you feel inclined to do so, you can email me, Eddie at CrossBonesMMA.com. Hell, maybe we could bring on to the show. You never know. Just make sure you have Google Hangouts and that it works for you. I think it works on your phone too. So if you want to, just a quick little thought, let me know. Hit me up on that Twitter. Send you the link. Get you on the show for a few minutes, and then we'll shoot the shit. Why not? Anyway, after a quiet week in the world of MMA, at least for the most part, we're back in fight week. We'll look at UFC 185, which goes down this Saturday on pay-per-view from American Airlines Arena in Dallas, Texas. Carlos Condit looking to make his comeback pretty soon. We'll talk about who they're looking at putting as his opponent. Carlos Sparks is still salty about not getting a Reebok deal, which actually really sucks. She should kind of get over that, but she's got a point. We'll talk about that too. And she's also now saying that the UFC is not promoting her fight correctly or proper, at least as she says. So we'll talk about that as well. And then Josh Koscheck's pulling a cowboy by getting back in the cage on 3 weeks' notice. It seems like everyone wants to do that now. First Cowboy, then Benson, now Josh. And we'll talk about who he's facing, and of course my weekly rant. So let's go. All right. Let's kick this off by talking about Carlos Condit. So, as you may remember, Condit was injured in his last fight against Tyron Woodley, where it seems like he blew his knee out completely. It was really, really bad. So he's been out for a pretty long time. So Condit is finally ready to come back to the octagon and is expected to take on Thiago Alves, the Pitbull in Brazil, on May 30th for UFC Fight Night 67. Now, the fight isn't finalized, which is why official word hasn't been given yet. But a fight against Pitbull will be a fun way to bring back the natural born killer, just back in the mix in the welterweight division. He's always a guy that's always there as far as the guys you could talk about being contenders. So absolutely. Very excited to have that guy back for sure. And fight against Pitbull, I'm not. I don't know. I mean, it'd be fun to watch. And of course, Thiago Alves is coming off a knockout win over Jordan Mean at UFC 183 when he hit Mean with that nasty body shot that made Jordan fold over and fall, causing the ref to stop the fight. So I apologize for my voice. I'm a little jacked up right now. Anyway, so 2 strikers in the octagon is always fun to have, a fun fight to have in the card. So we're definitely looking forward to that. So moving on, if you watch UFC 184, you got to see Josh Koscheck get choked out so bad that he was foaming at the mouth before the ref finally saw him tap, stopping the fight and handing Koscheck yet another loss, giving him his 4th in a row. Usually that means they cut you, but before he steps up for short notice. But before UFC 184, Koscheck has said that he wasn't even thinking about retiring yet, but that he was planning on finishing his contract with the UFC. Well, now he gets his chance. With the injury to Ben Saunders, Killer B, forcing him to withdraw from his bout against Eric Silva, Koscheck has stepped up on short notice, and it's 3 weeks' notice to make 170, which are is it 170? 170, I think. Yeah. Anyway, to make weight to take on Eric Silva at UFC Fight Night 62, which is in Brazil. Nothing official has been released yet by the UFC, but Silva confirmed it on his Instagram, and of course, it was reported by Globo.com out of Brazil. So somehow they always get these stories first as far as when Brazilians are involved. So you have to wonder what Koscheck is thinking here. Now, I don't know the details of his contract, but is this Kaz trying to come back and earn a win in order to be able to complete that contract and stay on the roster in order to complete that damn thing? Or is this a way to finish that contract up faster and right off into the sunset? So, Koscheck is one of the original, tough, the season 1 fighters. So, and he's a veteran through and through. But this 4-fight losing streak that, it's already rendered him irrelevant in the UFC. So I have to assume that he is trying to just finish his contract, keep his word, and move on to better things where he isn't constantly getting punched in the face or choked out badly where the ref isn't even paying attention anymore. So for him is a win. So Koscheck could just walk away with a W. Again, one of the original tough guys, and you hope that his career isn't remembered, or that he isn't remembered as being a guy who held on too long. But 4-fight losing streak, it's definitely looking that way. So hopefully he can get a win in Brazil and leave on a W. So anyway, moving along here, let's talk about the women of UFC 185, more specifically the women's strawweight title fight between challenger Joanna, forget that last name, and the champion Carla Esparza. So the event is headlined by Anthony Pettis defending his belt against Rafael dos Anjos, and also highlighted by Johnny Hendricks taking on Matt Brown. But the co-main event seems to be a bit underpromoted, and Carla is definitely taking notice. So she says, quote, "To be honest, I don't think our specific fight is being promoted as much as it should be. It is what it is. I'm going to just keep winning fights, and then those things will come. I'm not really too focused on that," end quote. This isn't a comment to MMAfighting.com. When she said she's not really focused on the fact that until recently her fight wasn't even on the event poster, I'm not really buying it. During Tough 20, Esparza showed that she definitely holds grudges and takes things very personally. So to say that she's not focused on it, in my opinion, is that, it's kind of the PC answer, the way to go, to just be to just kind of take the high road, right? You don't want to complain too much, but it definitely has to be bothering her. And really, why shouldn't it bother her? She's the first UFC strawweight champion, and this after dominating Invicta FC with wins over Sarah Schneider, Lynn Alvarez, and I think Beck Rollins is one of them. And Beck Rollins is in the house with her on Tough 20. So and all this before defeating Rose Namajunas via rear naked choke for the UFC belt. She's on a 5-fight winning streak and hasn't lost a fight in 4 years. And the UFC seems to not be not be pushing the women's strawweight champions, which Esparza definitely noticed. And the UFC seems to be quite fond of one of its youngest in the 115-pound division, and that's Paige Van Zandt. And her fight against Felice Herrig, which is set for UFC on Fox 15 in New York, New Jersey, is really getting a push. And on top of that, Reebok signed Van Zandt to a deal. In that stable of fighters that Reebok has, I mean, look, Ronda Rousey, the champion, John Jones, champion, title contender in Conor McGregor. The whole thing is kind of crazy, but it does lend insight into the world of marketing. When you watch commercials, for the most part, you'll see attractive people. It's pretty much how the world works in the world of sales and advertising. I mean, when's the last time you saw a commercial with unattractive people on it? Think about it. And it's just sorry, I'm sending a tweet here to somebody. Anyway, so when's the last time you saw someone like unattractive on a commercial? That really happens, and for example, I mean, it's just how it works, I mean, I don't know if anybody here deals with or anybody listening or watching deals with pharmaceutical reps, but I've never seen an unattractive one. They always send the best looking girl to come sell you some drugs. It's just what it is. So anyway, you know, and it sucks because it's not that Carla Esparza is unattractive. To me, I think it's because she doesn't market herself well enough. I mean, Paige is always putting out videos of herself, pictures, doing photo shoots and all that. Carla is really, she's not that kind of person. It's just, I mean, it just seems to be not who, you know, not who she is. So, you know, I don't know. It just really sucks for Esparza, but it's just how the world works right now. And she definitely knows. You know, she said, she told MMAfighting.com, quote, "I'm never going to hate on someone. I'm not going to hate on Paige for taking an opportunity that was given to her. But as far as the decision that Reebok made for that, I understand wanting to deal with someone who is very marketable. But I think it has to go hand in hand with someone's skill level and experience, what they do in the sport," end quote. And she's right. Except for the part about Reebok having to do anything. You know, Reebok is about selling merchandise. And if they feel Van Zandt is marketing herself, and she absolutely is, as is Felice Herrig and a lot of other girls in MMA, you know, they're going to sign her over Esparza, and that's what they did. You know, Carla's a lot quieter. She's kind of an unassuming person, as far as I can tell. I don't know her, so I'm kind of just talking shit at this point. But you know, it's I don't know. I don't know. It just really sucks for Esparza, you know. And it'd be interesting to get a former like advertising rep or even a current advertising rep if they want to talk to us, you know, anonymously if they want. That deals with athletes and is willing to give an insight into that world, because again, I'm not in it, so I don't know a whole lot about it. All I know is what I've read and what I've heard, and when I talk to fighters, what they told me about it. But you know, it's something I would love to see. Hell, if you know anybody, hit me up on Twitter at Elot31 or email me Eddie@CrossBonesMMA.com. I would love to talk to an advertising rep that deals with athletes and specifically the female athletes. But you know, if you're in that world and you know somebody, let me know. I'd love to talk to you, and we could definitely do a show. And if you don't want to have your face seen or anything or your name, no problem. But anyway, you know, Esparza isn't stupid. She knows what's going on. You know, she also told MMAfighting.com, quote, "I don't think it's a bad message. I think it's a realistic message. That's the way the world works. If you're marketable, you can make your money in different ways. That's the way it is. It's like with a job. If you're good at networking, you may not be the best person at the specific job, but you know how to get opportunities. It is the way it is," end quote. Believe me, look, at your job, you definitely know somebody like that. Someone that just knows how to talk. Someone knows how to network, how to just, it's almost like it's who you know. It's not what you know or how you or what skills you have. It's almost like who you know. We all know somebody. I know a few people. Hell, you know the people that I know that do that, you know, that do that. But you know, you can't really hit on their game when they're they market themselves like that. So you know, good for those people. But you know, the fact that she knows that you know why she's being skipped over by Reebok and why she's not being pushed with the UFC, it just tells you she's going to be fine. You know, if she just keeps winning fights and is able to defend her belt, they won't be able to ignore her for very long. You know, everybody loves a winner. So yeah. Anyway, speaking of Esparza, UFC 185 goes down this Saturday from American Airlines Arena in Dallas, Texas. Definitely a fight or a card worth getting. The main card is pretty stacked, but all the prelims are pretty, you know, intriguing at the very least. It's a card you definitely want to watch. I definitely recommend it. And you should definitely. I'm pulling up right now. I'm pulling the cards so you guys can follow along with me. And while I'm working on that, real quick, let's talk about all the shows for CrossBonesMMA.com and the CrossBonesMMA Radio Network, which I dub myself. Thank you very much. Of course, we have 5 rounds with John and Eddie. That one goes live Wednesdays and Saturdays. And also, what do we have? We also have Bad Decisions. This one on right now. And wow. What is going on here? Apologize. Live shows are rough sometimes. Anyway, all right. Right here. Perfect. We're up and running. Okay. Anyway, so we got 5 rounds with John and Eddie. We have Bad Decisions with Eddie Law, of course, and we also have Keyboard Warriors, which goes down on Tuesday nights. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have one tomorrow night. We're still working on details, but for sure we're gonna have that. We always have that every week, and then working on a Spanish language show. So if you speak Spanish or you prefer Spanish or anything, I'm fluent. Yo hablo español, so it works out. And just looking for a co-host out there. So if you speak Spanish, you want to get and you're knowledgeable in MMA and you want to get in the show, hit me up, Eddie@CrossBonesMMA.com or Twitter @Elot31. Hit me with a follow, hit you back with a follow, and then we could talk on DMs and figure this out. For sure, let me know. But let's go ahead and talk about this card. UFC 185, like I said, goes down in Dallas, Texas, out of American Airlines Arena, the place where the Dallas Mavericks play. And it's a card which Nick Palecki will unfortunately not be able to attend, but it's all good. It's not like Anderson Silva's fighting, so he's not really, he's an Anderson Silva guy, so he's not going to miss out too much, except for the fact that it's a baller card. So let's go through the card here. 12 fights in all, UFC Fight Pass prelims, FX prelims, and then the pay-per-view. So UFC early prelims, the Fight Pass prelims, kicking off 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, pretty early. We have Larissa Pacheco taking on the Iron Lady and Germaine de Randamie. Sorry. Sorry, because I'm horrible at saying names, so I'll probably apologize a lot for it in this card. Anyway, Pacheco lost her UFC debut in September of last year to Jessica Andrade via guillotine choke, which stopped her 10-fight win streak, and is now looking to start another one in this fight against Randamie, who is coming off a long layoff after losing her second fight in the UFC to Amanda Nunes in November of 2013 with a record of 4-3. The AKA product needs a win to keep a roster spot in the women's bantamweight division. Of course, the UFC is always looking for more opponents for Ronda Rousey. And so, they're gonna definitely be looking at her if she's able to get another few fight win streak, which she's shown. Pacheco's shown the ability to get on streaks, and Germaine just needs to show that she can fight. It's pretty much it. Anyway, the next bout brings the librarian Jake Lindsay taking on the last man who defeated the notorious Conor McGregor, Joseph Irish Duffy. Lindsay's riding a 2-fight losing streak right now, and it's he badly needs a win against Duffy here in order to stay on the roster. As we know, fighters who are losing streaks seem to always be on the hot seat unless you're on Uncle Dana's Christmas list, or just a legendary fighter. Frank Mir, Josh Koscheck could be argued. A few other fighters I've had three or four fight losing streaks. Anyway, Duffy's an interesting fighter. He's got a very good record coming in. He's at 12-1. He's making his UFC debut in Dallas. But the interesting thing about him is that he's got a win over Conor McGregor, a man who has so far in the UFC seemed to not only be unbeatable, but unstoppable. Duffy beat him in 2010 via arm triangle choke. And the UFC signed him because if he gets on that winning streak, a rematch with McGregor could be huge. It would be a great storyline, but that is quite a while away from now. So other than McGregor, he has a win over Norman Park, but will now show that he can take on UFC talent to prove that he is legit. We always think that the UFC is only looking to give guys free, easy fights or whatever. People want to say that the Dana White's not going to give Conor McGregor anybody worth fighting. First of all, he has Jose Aldo now, so he has Jose Aldo now to take on. So I wouldn't necessarily say that he has nobody that can fight back. But the fact that all he had to do was beat Dennis Seaver to get the title shot is kind of whack. So will Jim Duffy make it up there to challenge him? We don't know yet, but absolutely hoping to see another contender. Conor McGregor actually win the title. So all right, moving on here. Rounding out the Fight Pass prelims is one of the headliners. Oh, wait, yes. Fucking Anthony Independent's little brother. Sergio the Phenom Pettis takes on Ryan Babyface Benoit. Pettis is riding a 2-fight win streak as he makes his move to the flyweight division to take on Benoit. If he can make the weight cut, he should be successful in that division, although he is a long ways away from taking on, Demetrius Johnson, who's just killer champion. But imagine two brothers who are champs. That'd be pretty crazy. I don't think it's happened before. Anyway, Benoit is one of those, he's one of those fighters who has been away for a while. He last fought in November 2013. He lost to Josh Sample via rear naked choke, and nobody really knows why he's been away for so long. But he is a tough striker, so if this fight stays on the feet, it should be pretty damn entertaining. Should make for a pretty good prelim. So that'll end the Fight Pass prelims, and that takes us into the FX prelims. Remember, they're not the Fox Sports 1 prelims. They're on FX. Pretty sure there's going to be some college basketball on FS1, and in order to avoid having to wait for a game to start, for a basketball game to end to start the prelims, they move it to a different card. So, and it's kicked off by the heavyweights. So FX prelims kicking off 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We get Jared Rosholt taking on Josh Copeland in a fight of two very big not out of shape, because I'm not going to say out of shape because fighters are fighters, but I mean, look at the picture, man. I'm just saying, it's just, come on. I don't know. Sorry. It's just so weird to see fighters that aren't in shape, but we've seen plenty that are flabby that can definitely throw down. So, but it's a different game these days. Anyway, Rosholt has been in the UFC for a couple of years now, but he lost to Alexei Olenek when he got knocked out at UFC Fight Night, Edgar vs. Swanson. Obviously, when it comes to the heavyweights, we expect somebody to get knocked out, but Rosholt's been known to be able to go the distance in fights. It's kind of durable. If he just kind of wrestles out. So anyway, the man who's going to try to make this a quick fight is Josh Copeland, who made his UFC debut at the same card Rosholt last fought on, only to lose the decision to Ruslan Magomedov. who seems to follow everybody on Twitter, which is cool. But we always hope that the heavyweights deliver knockouts, but I won't be surprised if they go to decision, and it'll actually kind of be disappointing. So let's hope for a knockout here, because I don't really want to see a 15-minute long heavyweight fight. And this next fight, I don't think it's going to be 15 minutes. I think it'll actually be pretty quick. We're going to get the Detroit superstar Cruikshank against Beneil Dariush, which is interesting because Cruikshank actually had he said it before, and it's been well documented that he has permanent eye damage from his last fight against KJ Noons, in which he was poked in the eye and he had to fight prematurely. It'll be interesting to see if it hinders him at all, or I would love to just talk to him and ask him, like, dude, like, can you fight? I'm sure he could fight, but you need your sight. Definitely need your sight. So I wonder what kind of damage he has and what kind of things he has to deal with on a day-to-day basis that might hurt his training and could possibly hurt his chances to win this fight. So across from him is going to be Beneil Dariush, who's riding a 2-fight win streak, last beating Carlos Diego Ferreira last October. So Dariush loves submissions, and he'll be looking to take this fight to the ground for sure. So, I mean, exciting fight, fun fight, should definitely be something to look forward to. Anyway, so after those two, we get the Spartan versus Silverback as Elias Theodorou takes on Texas's own Roger Narvaez. In fact, Roger's from Nick Pilecki's hometown of Corpus Christi, Texas. So it's I guess it's a big fun fight for him, but that crowd's gonna love it because he's a Texan. Theodorou, coming out of Canada, is undefeated at 10-0. He's got 2 wins in the UFC over Sheldon Westcott, Bruno Santos, and he takes on a very game fighter, Narvaez, who I believe is a full-time firefighter. So anyway, Roger lost his UFC debut against Pat Cummins in June of last year, but returned in November to earn the upset win over a rising fighter in Luke Bernat. He looks to end Elias's undefeated streak on Saturday, and he actually has a pretty good shot at doing it because, if you saw his last fight against Luke Bernat, Narvaez can actually throw down. So he that's a fight you don't want to miss at all. That dude just throws down. Speaking of throwing down, rounding out the FX prelims is a very fun fight between two guys as Ross, the real deal Pearson, takes on Sam Hands of Stone Stout. Pearson has been in the UFC for a very long time, and after being robbed against Diego Sanchez in June of last year, we've all seen that fight. It was ridiculous. He earned a big win over Gray Maynard in a fight that people thought Gray Maynard was going to win and start another UFC comeback, but unfortunately for Gray Maynard, he gets stopped. So unfortunately for Pearson, he ran into Alan Quinta, who's now on the rise in the UFC. So now he looks to start another winning streak with a win over Sam Stout. Sam Stout, meanwhile, is another inconsistent fighter, not able to put 2 wins together since 2011, last losing to KJ Noons in April of last year. Getting knocked out by Noons in the first round doesn't help Stout, but a win over Pearson gets him on the right track and in the UFC, because that dude continue. I mean, if he stays inconsistent, he's not going to be able to stick around on the UFC roster. And Sam Stout to me is a fun fighter, and I'd like to watch him. So anyway, all right, getting to the main card, it is stacked, and in my opinion, worth buying, or at the very least going to a local bar to watch the fights with friends. Real quick side note here. The bars are cool. It's great. But to get there, you have to get there super early. I'm talking about during the prelims in order to get a decent seat, because otherwise bars can get really, really crazy and really, really full. So if you are going to a bar, get there early. If not, I recommend you just get your friends and get everyone to throw down $5. And if you get you get 5-6 friends, maybe, a few more, you might even get beer money. Go for it. Anyway, kicking off the pay-per-view, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, only on pay-per-view, just like I said, is number 10 flyweight Chris Carriazo taking on the undefeated Henry Cejudo, who is returning to 125 pounds after missing weight a couple times and having his last fight be 135 pounds. So Kamikaze Carriazo was the last man to be fed, and I say fed because everyone's pretty much fed to Demetrius Johnson. That headliner and for UFC 178, it wasn't supposed to be that one. I believe I can't remember who was supposed to be in the first place, but DJ against Carriazo. It was it was a cool fight to watch. Carriazo, he put up a fight, but other than that, DJ kind of ran through him at the very end of it. So I think he finished him via Kimura. So Carriazo's been in the UFC for a few years now, which is surprising that he is not well known. He takes on a guy who came into the UFC with quite a bit of hype due to his wrestling prowess and improving striking. Henry the Messenger Cejudo won his UFC debut against Dustin Kimura after a fun decision win at UFC Dos Santos versus Miocic in Phoenix, Arizona, a card which I was able to go to because it is in the town that I live in. So Cejudo's undefeated and has a lot of hype around him, most of it positive, but the first test he faces is the weight cut to 125 pounds, which he has failed a couple of times now before Dana White forced him to move up to 135 for his debut before getting permission to attempt 125 pounds again. So Cejudo definitely has a lot to live up to, especially with his inability to make weight in the past. So now we go from the smallest guys in the UFC to the biggest, as big country taking on the Reem. Roy Nelson's coming off the first knockout loss in the UFC after eating a fist from Mark Hunt in a classic walk-off knockout for Hunt, which is kind of ruined by the ref by tripping Hunt. But regardless, a walk-off knockout seems to be a Mark Hunt type of deal. So on Nelson, as we know, he has big-time power. He has high-level jiu-jitsu, and which I think is going to be key for him to win in this fight. I think he takes Overeem to the ground where he's uncomfortable and submits him, but that glass chin of Overeem's will be very tempting for Nelson, and that nasty-ass overhand right of his. The number 8 ranked heavyweight has a test on his hands in this fight, but number nine, Alistair Overeem, he earned that knockout win over Stephen Struve in Phoenix last year. Now, Struve was making his long-awaited return after having heart issues that derailed his MMA career, only to come back against Overeem. But the Reem has high-level striking, but I think his confidence is a bit of a weakness since he prefers to stand with guys. With I almost sound like Reem was trying to be fighting guys. Like, he stands with guys. No, I mean, he stands with opponents. So his chin has been more exposed now than ever before, and this is from a high-level kickboxer. So I'm really hoping that he's worked on his game, and I'm thinking Roy Nelson takes it to the ground and finally gets a nice submission win. But I'm not going to be mad if they just stand and slug it out. So anyway, we go from one expected knockout finish to an expected brawl when we get former welterweight champion Johnny Big Rig Hendricks taking on the immortal Matt Brown. Originally slated to complete that trilogy against Robbie Lawler, Hendricks is ranked number 1, and he didn't want to wait for Lawler to be ready to fight in July. So he takes this fight in his hometown of Dallas against the always tough Matt Brown. Both guys are down for exciting fights. Brown is ranked number 5. He's looking for bigger paychecks, bigger fights, and maybe even a title shot, while Hendricks wants to get back to that belt. And I wouldn't doubt that they give Hendricks the winner of McDonald versus Lawler, which I believe is going to be a baller-ass fight. I'm excited as hell for that fight for sure. And definitely something to look out for should Hendricks win. Now, if Matt Brown wins, who do you give the champion, for the title? So there's plenty of guys at 170 pounds too that that could fight for the title. But personally, I'd like to see Matt Brown fight for it. He hasn't gotten a chance, and it'd be kind of a Cinderella story, right? It'd be definitely a lot of fun to watch. So the co-main event, which we talked about earlier, puts number 1 strawweight Johanna, not gonna say your last name because it's crazy, challenging for Carlos Parza's belt. So what we saw from Johanna in her last fight against Claudia Gadella is she's got that striking, man, and she's got good takedown defense, and she's gonna need it against that high level wrestler in Esparza. Like I said before, Carla's on that 5-fight win streak. She defeated Rose Namajunas for the UFC title, and she has a big chip on her shoulder now, with all the talk of being passed over for the Reebok deal and her statement that her fight's not being promoted properly, even though it is the co-main event of UFC 185, which is a stacked-ass card. So, she's going to come out to make a statement that she's here to stay as strawweight champion, which should definitely make for a fun fight. I don't like when people hate on the women, but to hate on the strawweight women, you don't know what you're talking about. That's some high-level MMA right there. So that takes us to the main event, a 5-round title fight for the UFC Lightweight Championship. Rafael Dos Anjos will challenge Anthony Showtime Pettis for the belt in Dallas. Dos Anjos is riding a 3-fight win streak over guys like Jason Hyde, Benson Henderson, and Nate Diaz. Crazy, all which were dominant wins for Dos Anjos. His striking has improved tremendously, and his jiu-jitsu has always been dangerous, but he's taken on an athlete and a versatile champion in Anthony Pettis. Pettis has a 5-fight win streak right now, wins over Jeremy Stevens, Joe Lozon, and Donald Cowboy Cerrone before defeating Benson Henderson for the belt, and defending it against Gilbert Melendez, which was I expected Melendez to make it a brawl, and I mean, damn, he ended up finishing Melendez via submission, and I didn't think he could do it. So the knock on Pettis has always been that his health isn't great. He doesn't fight that often, and his fight against Melendez came more than a year after winning the belt. So he has that striking, he has very good ground game, as we've seen before, and we're looking at a possible war between these two, with Pettis being the clear favorite. I would expect some fireworks in this one because Rafael Dos Anjos is definitely going to be looking to stand to equal whatever Anthony Pettis throws at him. So it's kind of what I don't know. I'm expecting a war. I'm hoping for a war, but that's kind of what we say every single time. It's kind of what the UFC says every single time. In fact, every fighter says that every single time. And sometimes we don't get the fights we're looking for. So if you have a shot, you have a beer, you have a drink, take a drink with me. All right. Not gonna lie, that's water. I just worked out. Training for the Super Spartan April 18th. By the way, if you're in Vegas on April 18th and you want to be in just a psycho and run 8+ miles plus 25 obstacles, for the Super Spartan badge, which is a blue Spartan thing. I mean, it's kind of like that. It's that right there, the little Spartan helmet, but it's blue. I have 3 red ones because I've done it 3 times. The sprint in Arizona. Now looking to get the blue one, the Super Spartan, and then later this year, if uninjured and able to compete, I guess for the next one, the Spartan Beast. Hopefully in October, maybe September. So if you're in Vegas, April 18th, hit me up, Eddie at CrossBonesMMA.com, and I will get you on the team. And it's not that expensive right now, considering what we be doing. So if you want to go, if you want to meet us there, hit me up, Eddie at CrossBonesMMA.com or Twitter at Elaw31. All right, so let's move to the rant, very last part of the show here. All right, I gotta get myself ready because I get kind of worked up on these rants. So let's get going here. So all right, let's talk about why social media buys into the bullshit, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So now I know how social media works. Someone puts their ideas out into this unlimited vast of the internet, and then someone picks it up and runs with it, right? Whether they get a signature, fuck you and die, like my friends from Stand and Bang Radio, Aaron does all the time to my stuff. He'll just, the other day I put out, Rondo's gonna run through Cyborg, and he just sends me "fuck you and die," which is a joke, but he's making, he's clearly, playing on the usual Twitter garbage that people send. So, anyway, so you get that, or you get retweeted a few thousand times, and it seems like we're so damn ready to just buy into whatever idea is thrown out there. Fights that won't happen is clearly one of them. Yes, I am talking about Ronda Rousey fighting dudes. Really now? Ronda against men in the octagon? Someone actually opened a freaking betting line about how likely Rousey is to fight a man in a cage, which is complete and utter bullshit. Now, yes, Rousey kind of fueled it by saying that she feels she could beat any man at 135 pounds, but it's not realistic. Not even if Brian Caraway got a sex change would that fight ever happen. Let it go, people. Now, Ian McCall did get butthurt, all right? The notion that Rousey could beat anybody at 135 pounds and any man at 135 pounds really pissed him off, but, get the hell out of here with that garbage. McCall actually took the bait by even addressing it. Nobody else did. No one even cared to address it seriously. Some of the guys joked around about it, but no one actually took it seriously. I mean, come on, really? Why would the UFC do that? Why would any commission on the planet outside of Iraq and Afghanistan allow this kind of shit? And it wouldn't, and it won't. Okay, yeah, that Iraq and Afghanistan jab was a bit much, okay, but explaining that won't be something for the ULI podcast. So, regardless, if you're offended, tough, I guess it was a joke. But what isn't a joke is violence against women. So, and that is exactly what Ronda Rousey said as one of the reasons that it's unrealistic to expect a fight against a man, pointing out that there's really no setting where they should condone a man hitting a woman ever. And it's very true. You shouldn't be, if you put a man and a woman in a cage to fight, you're condoning violence, a man putting his hands on a woman in a violent way. And it's definitely not, it's not right. So let it go, people. It's not going to happen. And while we're at it, can we leave, Layla Ali and any other big profile woman out there alone? Everyone's asking them if they could beat Ronda Rousey. You're all morons. First of all, Layla Ali is not fighting Ronda Rousey. And if she did, Ronda Rousey would armbar her so fast that Ali would just regret getting in there with her. Morons. You're all looking and sounding like TMZ out there right now. All right. That's the rant. So, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, but only because I'm tired of talking about it. Jason Mayhem Miller was actually arrested over the weekend at a bar in California. This guy needs help big time. If you know Jason Mayhem Miller, please get him some help. This dude has mad issues and all this getting arrested and supposedly fighting cops. I don't know the whole story. I honestly was so grossed out by the fact that people people wrote articles quick on it. Off his video, this dude shot with a camera phone. So also, look, all joking aside, Mayhem Miller needs some help, and if someone can get him some help, that'd be great. And if he can get himself some help, that'd be even better. That way, he's actually serious about it. But details haven't come out yet on that story, so definitely something to I guess keep an eye on if you're a TMZ guy. Anyway, all right, that's gonna do it for Bad Decisions for me today. All right, thanks for joining me for tonight's episode. Remember that Bad Decisions is now on Monday nights, regardless of what the song says. I know it says Sunday and it's earlier in the day. But we'll get that changed sometime, hopefully. But I really like the song too much to lose it. And that's only if you're listening on iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud. So make sure to follow me on Twitter at Elaw31 and at CrossBonesMMA. Like the fan page on Facebook at facebook.com/CrossBonesMMA. Of course, go to CrossBonesMMA.com for all of your MMA news. Also, a big shout out to a friend of Crossbones, the good guys over at FightBookMMA.com. Check the site out, articles, shows, all the good jazz stuff. jazz stuff. I'm gonna start saying that now. Anyway, Entry Music by T. Fowler. If you're listening to this on your iPod, phone, tablet, whatever, on iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud. Speaking of which, all shows on the CrossBonesMMA Radio Network are available. I can't even speak English anymore. Anyway, all these shows on the CrossBonesMMA Radio Network are now available on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. So subscribe on those services right there because they're free. And you're going to get all of CrossBonesMMA Radio Network content automatically. You can download all these shows: 5 Rounds with John and Eddie, Bad Decisions, Keyboard Warriors. Got a few more shows coming up. One in Spanish. Like I said, if you speak Spanish fluently and you want to shoot the shit about MMA and you're knowledgeable and just kick me an email here, Eddie@CrossBonesMMA.com or at Elo31 on Twitter, and we'll follow each other, and then we'll DM about it and see what we can get worked out. Anyway, all those shows are free. Free. They're free. Hit them up on your iPod and enjoy. Go work out. If you go to work and you're able to wear headphones, do that shit because come on, why not? Right? It's free. Anyway, come back next week for another episode of Bad Decisions with Eddie Law. For all of us at CrossBonesMMA.com and CrossBonesMMA Radio, I am Eddie Law saying see you next week. We're one day closer to death. Make it count.